An intro. Hey, that took me all about 5 minutes. Yeah, welcome to the show. We're doing another review, and we're doing the Immortal Hulk Volume 1. And the person who picked this, we're going to get him up on screen right now. It is none other than Luke from Hydra Collectibles. How are you doing, Luke?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm really looking forward to talking about this one.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, mate. That's for sure. But yeah, your pick, so it's all your fault. So next up, we'll bring in the gamma-rated Geordie Geek, none other than Triple G.
Gamma rated, I like that.
There you go. That's Triple G for
Very
you.
good. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this, Pete. Well, I'm not going to say whether it's good or bad, but yeah, lots to unpick on this one, I think.
Yeah, definitely. He's from the Emerald Isle. That's green enough. It is none other than James, comic dealer himself.
Say before reading this book, I thought Gamma was a kind of cheese. So we're
could still be free cheese. And all the way from across the pond, we have none other than my old man himself, Efren.
I am only here to see you, my son. You know, this is the one time a week we get to see each other. How much you've grown. You know, I'm so proud of you. So yeah, I'm on the show, and you know, this is the first time I read the Immortal Hulk again. You know, there's so many things that I forgot about this. So great pick. Yep.
Brilliant. And obviously, we can't do it without the people in the chat. We'll just quickly go through. We've got Comic Deal himself. Is that showing up on the bottom there? Is it? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Sif Lordley, Spine Ticks. He's here for Ginger Kong. Don't have Ginger Kong, mate, but we do have a Green Goliath. We've got a good old Fuzzy Dunlop. Cheers, mate. Thank you for stopping by. Wolverine stopped by.
Oh.
Maybe to battle the Hulk. Can he handle the regular Chuck Norris? No.
Nobody can handle Chuck Norris.
Nobody. We've got Sean Hogan. How are we doing, Sean? Welcome, mate. One of the card from the card community, Vogs18. How are we doing, mate? Roscoe's here.
There you go.
Fuzzy saying it's got weird already. I won't last. And Roscoe shouting now for a Ginger Kong versus Pigman.
Oh.
Pigman. There we go. So just get into the chat. Get out the chat. There we go. So yeah, the Immortal Hulk Volume 1. Was it 2018 this one come out?
Ooh.
Yes, I think. Yes.
We've all done our research, I can tell.
I'm useless with the dates.
I've got the book in front of us. Should I have a look?
If you have, I've got the book as well. I didn't even think to have a look. Anyway, it's written by Al Ewing.
2018.
Art by Joe. There you go, 2018. Art by Joe Bennett and some others. I think there was other writers involved with this as well. Each issue had an Alex Ross cover. Is that correct?
Yeah, they are phenomenal.
Brilliant. So if you haven't read Immortal Hulk, there are going to be spoilers in the show. So just be aware for that. If you have read it and you are in the chat, let us know your thoughts as we go along. I want to bring Peter up first for the first issue, which is Avengers 684.
This one.
I only come to you because I know you don't like it.
It's dog shit, isn't it? It's utter dog shit. No, it's you know what? I find this really hard because actually the Immortal Hulk bits of this are brilliant, and it sets up the stories going forward. It gives you the hints about the Green Door and stuff like that. It's just such a shame it's kind of encased within utter crap Avengers. I mean, what? I haven't read this run of Avengers, thank God, but you've got Quicksilver in a horrific costume. You've got General Ross there with this kind of weird black handlebar mustache kind of. Yeah, it's just, for me, it's a shame that it's stuck in the middle of it. If you'd taken out the Avengers bits, I think it would have been tremendous. Because it's a great start to the run. It's just a shame it was hidden in the Avengers book for me.
Because the thing is, I just chucked this as a throwaway issue. Because everything that gets explained in here gets explained in the main story anyway.
Yeah.
But like you say, the stuff about the Green Door, Bruce giving Hawkeye an arrow, that sort of thing, that all gets mentioned in here. So, Luke, did you read the Avengers issue before you went on to the Immortal Hulk?
No, and you know what? I still haven't read it. So I actually have all of the single issues of Immortal Hulk, and I picked this one up because I knew it was connected, but I've never read this single issue because I had not read the rest of the Avengers story. And like you say, you do get the explanation throughout. I knew the gist of the story, so I didn't feel like I ever needed to go and read it, but I do still have it within my collection.
Yeah, do yourself a favor, don't read it. James, how about yourself?
No, I never read this one. When I originally read the Immortal Hulk run, I think I only read it a couple of years back. But again, I think obviously it's included with the sort of trade, and it's only a couple of pages from that issue that really has any relevance. And again, you don't need it, but it was good to sort of give you a bit of context as to how many times Bruce has died.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. Efren, how about yourself? Because I know you pick up a lot.
Yeah, I read it and it was just okay. I don't think you really need to read it. One thing, I don't know if you guys read, but the Immortal Hulk #1. Did you read Immortal Hulk #0?
Yeah.
That was good.
I didn't.
Yeah.
No.
It was good. It explains a lot of his relationship with his father. I think that's a better read than the Avengers.
So I knew there wasn't an Immortal Hulk 0, but for some reason it's not included in.
It's not included. Yeah.
Quite good. Yes.
So that baffled us a bit to put this shite in instead. So with that out the way, we'll just go straight into issue 1. And so issue 1 takes us straight into the story, and there's a gas station hold up. A little girl gets shot, and Bruce dies. It will be the second time he dies, because obviously he died previous to Immortal Hulk.
Yeah, he's died a few times in continuity.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a bit jarring, this gas station scene, to be fair.
Yeah.
What do you guys make of that?
I loved this first issue. I have to say, I think it was tremendous. The gas station bit was just heartbreaking. I don't know why, but I kind of in my head, and me and Efren have talked about this a few times. In my head, I kind of think Marvel's a bit. So I've kind of painted it as a Disney kind of thing. So it's always a bit of a surprise when you get kind of proper horror and gut wrenching stuff. So like you say, 13-year-old girl, I think she gets shot, and then the clerk behind the till gets shot, then Bruce gets shot. I think it was really jarring. And then I absolutely love the depiction of the Hulk. This kind of Jekyll and Hyde kind of imagery. He's evil, kind of grin and stuff. And my only moan about this episode, this issue, and it's a silly moan really, is it kind of throws away at the end that nobody died. I know you would say, well, he's still a hero and stuff like that. I wish he'd killed everybody. Do you know what I mean? I think they kind of took the horror element and then backed away slightly at the end to show that actually he's still a good guy, because he just paralyzed this guy. He didn't actually rip him limb from limb. But I think this was a stunning issue.
Yeah, it's like you said about the Hulk. So this is pretty much a throwback to when the Hulk originally got introduced in the Silver Age. It wasn't rage that turned Bruce into the Hulk. He just did it by nighttime.
Yeah.
And you get that right through the beginning start of these stories. At night, it's his time.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that, because the Hulk was quite intelligent back then as well. So it's quite a good throwback to that. Luke, so this is the issue that put you on to Immortal Hulk.
Yeah. So straight away, I was captivated by the artwork. Like, it really drew me in. No pun intended. It threw me at first as well, because I hadn't read a Hulk book for a really long time. And obviously watching the movies, I kind of forgot that he was able to communicate and speak the way that he did.
Yeah.
So that caught me off guard, but I just rolled with it and it worked. I love that it's gone back to the Hulk being at night, just like what you said. I'm a big fan of the original horror stories where the Hulk came from, such as Frankenstein and Jekyll and Hyde and things like that. So yeah, this first issue was amazing. You know, I loved it. I did worry when we were first introduced with this first issue. I did worry at first that it was going to be a constant Bruce Banner's going to die and then revive, die and revive, die and revive over and over again. And I'm glad that they don't lean into that too much. You know, I was a bit worried that it was just going to be, you know, repetitive. But no, I was fully on board with this issue.
Brilliant. Efren, did this take you back to the Silver Age books?
Yeah, I mean, first I'm going to talk about the covers. We've mentioned it. I mean, what first drew me to this book, Advanced Orders, when before this book even came out, was the artwork by Alex Ross. You know, oh my God, I got to read this book. I didn't even read the synopsis of the title, but I was like, wow, I got to at least pick up the first issue. You know, obviously.
Sorry, Efren, just coming in on that. I don't know if you guys have seen, but Al Ewing is relaunching Thor, and it's going to be called the Immortal Thor. Yes, and Alex Ross is doing every cover for that as well.
Oh, wow.
So I'm hyper about that. Yeah.
That's going to be good.
Yeah. So, you know, I reread it, and I'm glad we're doing these reviews because it's been a while since I've read this book, and I was like, wow, I forgot all about this. This opening scene, I mean, especially in the United States with gun control, it was a hard read, I must say, you know, especially this young girl here. I was like, damn it, you know, everything that's happening here in the United States. But, you know, I read it, but it made me, you know, God dang it, you know, guns, you know. But this picture of this Hulk here, he does look so evil and like a monster, which I love also, you know. But yeah, it was a good storyline so far.
Yeah. Your takeaway, James?
Yeah, to be honest, I think this issue one is, out of the first 5 issues, is probably my favorite, and I think it's probably in my opinion, is the best of the bunch, because it doesn't try to do too much, but it sets the scene, and it sets the current situation of the Hulk up quite well. I think, yeah, obviously, you know, the gas station, or I'm called the petrol station scene, was you know, it was unexpected. You know, you figured, the guy's obviously nervous. You don't think he's actually going to shoot anybody, and then he shoots everybody. So that, you know, that's definitely one of those things is, I got to keep reading it. I think that's the hook for everybody on the book. It just keeps you reading. And yeah, it's just, I think the story progressed very well in that first issue from there. I you know, and I know what you said about it, he didn't end up killing anybody, but I think, to be honest with it, in the last couple of panels, when I said about the kid who robbed the store, he was like, had broken arms, broken legs. He'll never be able to walk again. And, you know, that's probably a fate, because I know he's got like a young kid and a wife and stuff, and that's probably a fate worse than death.
Yeah,
it's like, well,
that's true.
It probably, he knew what he was doing. I would say the Hulk knew exactly what he was doing when he mauled that man or boy, I guess, because he was a young kid. So absolutely mauled him. But no, I think out of the whole run, and obviously I'll talk about the other issues later on, but I think this is definitely my favorite issue of the first 5 issues for sure.
I agree, James. I'm with you there. This was my favorite.
Like I said, a lot of this caught me off guard. The other one, of course, being that I was shocked that Bruce Banner could die. You know, again, having not read it for so long, I immediately thought that he was just going to jump up right there and then as the Hulk and, you know, like spit the bullet out or something. But that didn't happen.
Yeah.
He went through the whole morgue scene and everything else, obviously waiting for nighttime, which then it all clicked and made sense to me that they were going back to form. But wouldn't it have been interesting had they decided that he could only ever become Hulk if he died? And then we just have Bruce Banner constantly trying to kill himself every issue just to be the Hulk
over and over again.
It's interesting you're saying that, Luke, because this Al Ewing has kind of changed the backstory to the Hulk in the whole death thing, because previously it was that the Hulk wouldn't let Bruce Banner die. So you've got things like the helicopter scene where, you know, he gets pushed out and he turns to the Hulk before he hits the ground, or he gets shot but he turns to the Hulk before the bullet kills him. That kind of thing. Whereas this has been flipped, hasn't it? So it's now that he actually dies and he's resurrected as the Hulk, guys.
Just a big hello to Brian LCS. If you didn't already know, nominations for the CBC Awards is up. So if you go over to Brian's channel, he'll point you in the right direction with that. So you also get another character introduced in this issue as Jackie McGee, the reporter who's trying to track Bruce down. And you get to see a little bit about her backstory in late issues, and we'll get into that later. I just want to point out, I should have sent you this first slide, Pete. is his big splash cover where he actually tracks the guy down.
No, hang on. We'll make you big, Pete. We'll make you big.
Hey,
Now we have the technology. There we are.
we do now. Yeah. I thought this was an amazing splash page.
Yeah.
Anyway, he tracks the guy down before he mauls him. He goes after that guy. He takes out a load of bikers, and it's just a brilliant issue. So as we go into issue 2,
sorry, Pete. Can I just? I'm just googling as we talk. When I was reading it, McGee, is that not the name of the investigative reporter in the TV show as well?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, the guy who was chasing him in the TV show.
That's right. Yeah. Good callback. Yeah, I thought that. I couldn't be asked to Google it. To be fair. Yeah, so we're going to issue 2, and speaking of the TV show, we see Bruce homeless, going from town to town. We find out that he's trying to right some wrongs, going after gamma radiated people. So this guy, I forgot his name now on the cover there.
Dr. Fry.
Is that what he's called?
Yeah,
Dr. Fry.
Frye, I think his name is.
Yeah.
This was my favorite issue, mostly because of this character.
Yeah, because we find out he'd been testing on his son as well.
Yeah.
Injecting him with gamma. So it was pretty interesting, to say the least, and getting buried alive at the end.
Yeah.
That was just a good little finish to it, cherry on the top.
Yeah, I like the sort of start of the issue where he said he's going town to town. He's usually almost like a gamma spidey sense to sort of, it's drawn him to where all gamma rated people are. So he's sort of like a gamma rated Jack Reacher-esque character. He's just going from town to town, just finding these guys and sorting right now. But I don't know. I think that for me, for this issue, it starts, and I like to think I'm a relatively smart guy, but a lot of stuff just starts going over my head on some of these issues, and I think this is sort of the start of it, and then the next few issues it just goes well over my. In fairness, I do have quite a slippery head, so it is
very slippery, James. Very slippery. But you know what? I completely get what you're saying, because I've read all of this. I've read the entire run of 50 odd issues or something, and I was just saying to GP before we came on, I'm still not really sure I understand what it was all about. To an extent, but I get that. I think this is a great issue. I enjoy it, and one of the things I put this slide up in particular is that I like how clever it is in terms of that image of the Hulk there with the green flashing eye. I just assumed that was the Hulk's eye flashing, and then it's later on it kind of calls back and says, the Hulk spotted the gamma on the hillside. I didn't even put the two and two together and stuff like that. And I like the horror of it. So this is where we first start to see real horror. I mean, that's a horrific scene where the dad's trying to prolong his son's life and ends up killing him. The lad saying, "I'm blind, Dad, I can't see." It's proper horror, and that's when I kind of start thinking, "Oh, this is going to be a good series. This is going to be up my street." Yeah, no, that's a strong issue.
Yeah. Ever know about yourself, mate? Enjoy this one.
Oh, I enjoyed it a lot. I think, when are people going to understand that gamma radiation is not good for you? Everybody thinks that I can fix gamma radiation. I can make it better for the human race. And this doctor just basically killed his son, and his life is over with, because of gamma radiation. And, and Hulk, the grim in this book, he goes after all the people who have done wrong. And I really enjoyed it. I love the artwork, and especially when his son dies instantly, and there's a good storyline. I've enjoyed the first 2 books of this series.
Yeah. So, Luke, this one's going to be straight up your alley with the horror element.
Yeah, I like I say, I loved this. And to be fair to the scientist, he was following in the footsteps of Banner's, success, as it were. And he didn't have any ill effects himself right away, so obviously giving it to his son was it was a terrible mistake, one that he didn't foresee. And equally, the whole concept of how his son was so loved, like amongst the town, so loads of people came to the graveside, and then they too were getting radiation sickness and dying, and it kind of being like a curse was put upon the town. I love all of that.
Yeah.
You know, it's such good storytelling, and like you say, true horror.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll just slide straight into issue 3 now. I think we all enjoyed issue 2. Now, Pete, you've had a bit of trouble with the artwork in this one, correct?
Do you know what? The story, if I just read the words, the story is great, and again, it's very dark, and you know, it's pretty cool. The artwork just didn't do it for us. I didn't like the jumping between different styles. I didn't like the styles. Do you know what I mean? And probably it's a bit like James was saying. I did feel like I was getting a bit lost with this story. I didn't really understand where it was going or what was happening until the end, really. This for me was, it felt like an experiment by the artist and the writer, and for me, it didn't personally work particularly well.
I'll break it down for you, Pete. So there was an incident in this town, and McGee, who was on the trail of Bruce, went there, and she's trying to find out what happened. So she talked to local residents. There you go. Not hard. No.
Yeah, I like the sort of like the, you know, art is very subjective, as we all know, and they are very highly contrasting styles. You know, between the four sort of was it 4 perspectives they had in it?
Yeah,
4, and then
there was the priest, old woman, the police officer, the bartender. Yes, 4.
So and I like the way, obviously it's a different style for each perspective, and the sort of artwork, you know, almost sort of resembles the person telling the story. You know, like the bartender is quite simplistic. Not that bartenders are simple people, you know, they're great, but they're you know what I mean. It's sort of you know, it is what it is. The old woman there, it's all very pastely colored and lovey dovey, because obviously she, you know, she thought the what was it called, Hot Shot? The Hot Shot was you know, a bit of a looker and things like that. And then you know, the police one was quite gritty and sort of. So I enjoyed it, but again, it was just at this point, it was just starting to go over my.
Is Hot Shot an existing character? Is he from something? Because I don't.
Yeah,
I think
I'll assume he was.
I think his name was the Human Ray Gun in this.
Yeah,
that's what he called himself. So, Luke, how did you take number 3?
Well, first of all, I absolutely love this cover. And there was something about these covers. A lot of these ones were damaged. And that's been, you know, a repeat thing when you're trying to buy them online. So I've actually got like 2 or 3 of these, but they all have very similar levels of damage to them. But it's an amazing cover with that hole in the Hulk's chest.
Oh, yeah.
Interior artwork, much like what everyone's saying, I'm not a fan, but I do get what they're trying to do, like what James said with the different personalities, the different styles. So, yeah, I was just glad that it didn't continue like this.
Yeah. Efren, were you a fan?
I'm basically agreeing what Peter and Luke said about this. I mean, the artwork just threw me off. And I just finished reading these books like about a half an hour ago. You know, I caught up with them, and I completely forgot what this is about. You know, I think just the artwork it just threw me off. So it was an okay issue with me. Nothing grabbed my attention that much with this issue.
Right. Yeah, I'll personally, I like this issue. I don't mind the artwork at all. I like seeing the different perspectives of the different people. The whole woman keeps thinking he's James Dean. I thought it was hilarious. But you get another mention of the Green Door in this. It's just the funny bit with the bartender at the end there, where the Hulk smashed his car, and he just stood there and he says, "You suck." I thought it was hilarious. At the end of it, we get a Sasquatch making an appearance, like as his alter ego, Walter. I can't pronounce that. Langwiski, I think you pronounce it.
Yeah, just commit. We'll go with it.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
So, you know, Hot Shot was an established character, first introduced in Incredible Hulk issue 345.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
But it's one of the last panels near the end that I really liked, and that's where they find his girlfriend. And spun backwards.
Smiling.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean in terms of the story arc. I really liked because it's starting to get us intrigued about the whole Green Door and what's that all about. Because Green Door's written behind her or something, isn't it?
Yes.
And our head's been spun around. But that didn't really. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting issue. I probably need to read it a few more times to understand it.
Did
10 more times for you, Pete.
And I get obviously the philosophy and stuff behind what the Green Door turns out to be and all that stuff, but when I first reading it, did anyone just get Shaken Stevens vibes?
Yeah,
because that's because it's one hit wonder.
Yeah,
it's basically a UK Elvis, a UK Elvis. Shaken Stevens.
It's the best way to describe it. Yeah, so
they're about on par, aren't they, in terms of popularity and stuff like that.
Shaken Stevens, you've got to have Shaken Stevens at Christmas anyway. The law. Yeah, Roscoe's saying this is one of his favourite covers from Alex Ross. Yeah, absolutely stunning. So issue 4, I thought was pretty much a McGee issue. It's more about her and Walter trying to track Bruce. Pete, your thoughts, mate?
I really enjoyed this one. I think I enjoyed this one probably because Sasquatch isn't a character I'm particularly familiar with. So it was quite a nice kind of recap of, I hadn't realized that he was a friend of Bruce Banner back in the day. I hadn't even realized, to be fair, that his powers were derived from gamma radiation in some way.
No, I didn't either.
So that was quite interesting. And I liked him as a character. I thought he was very laid back and very cool and all this. And then near the end, where you get that transformation, and it leads into issues further down the run. But this book really starts to lean into the kind of the body horror and the body morphing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I really liked that. I thought that was very, very cool. I enjoyed this issue. I thought it was a nice kind of pace and all the rest of it. Yeah. And again, I love this art style.
So you said he was in Alpha Flight. Was he in the original? Was he in the original?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He was. Yeah. That's something I was thinking as well. Was this like a retconned origin story for him, or was this like? Because I haven't read a lot of Alpha Flight, but I don't know if they ever delved into his origin.
I always assumed that this was retconned for this story. I don't personally know, but I just assumed that.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, like most of you guys on the screen, I've read comics for a while now, and I've never associated Sasquatch with gamma radiation. I always thought he was possessed by some Sasquatch spirit or whatever.
Sasquatch.
Yeah, so I don't know whether I've just missed it completely, or like you say, this has been kind of retconned for this book. Interesting. Don't know if anybody in the chat knows.
Out. I'll say that, Roscoe.
See you, Roscoe.
Efren, how about you, mate? Because obviously you've read Alpha Flight, the original ones and everything, so
yeah,
get more up on this character.
I've read Alpha Flight from the beginning, and I knew that Walter Langowski was associated with the Hulk and gamma radiation, but I forgot. It's been such a long time, so I'm glad they brought it up again in this series. Who's the artist for the book? Is it Joe Bennett?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think he did that right through. Yeah,
he does fantastic work. The expression on these people's faces, which grabbed my attention for this artwork. And the monstrous form. I mean, this whole book, we mentioned this already. It's a comic book, but it's also a horror book. Just the looks on their face, man. Have you seen the Hulk up close like that? Yeah, I'd be scared. I think this would be a great animated series if they did it the right way. Just the more
absolutely,
yeah.
The artist, didn't he get into some bother? Was that the internal artist who ended up having to come off the series? Because I think he was sneaking some quite dodgy imagery into his panels and things like that.
Oh, the anti-Semitic stuff.
Yeah, Al Ewins come out and said that he won't work with him anymore.
Oh wow!
I don't know if that's the same artist or not, but yeah, certainly there was some anti-Semitic kind of imagery placed in some of the books.
Right, I never noticed any. Went straight over my head.
It got pulled. It was on a cover. It was in.
Yeah, it was in one of the issues. I do remember it was something to do with like a jewelry shop or something.
Yeah,
and they sent jewelry a certain way.
Oh, was that him? That was Joe Bennett?
I think so. I might be wrong. Okay. I don't want to disparage the guy. I just know it was one of the internal artists on this book.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Learn something new every day.
apparently, according to Wikipedia, he
is that right?
some anti-Semitic imagery during.
It was was it on an X-Men book that he did that?
No, on this book.
Oh, this book. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was something about one of the older issues of X-Men. That
Yeah.
the same thing happened.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was quite a while ago, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speak a hello to Sean, who's just popped in there.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
It's Sean.
Yeah, so we get a little bit more about the Green Door being a sort of alternate dimension. I think it's mentioned. And something else controlling Sasquatch, not Walter. And I think it's in the issue 5 that we find out who it is. It's not really alluded to in this issue. Did any of that take you by surprise?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was
Okay.
I would
Sorry.
say it probably took most people by surprise. Yeah.
So for me, I haven't reread this. Like I just remember it from when I did read it, and obviously I read the entire run. So even just trying to remember exactly what happened in each issue, because didn't they explained that like Sasquatch had been in the Sasquatch form for a really long time up in space and things like that. Again, like I was, if they're gonna link it so tightly to the gamma radiation, would he too only be able to transform at night? Like, would that not be the same as well? Like,
I think that's something like that gets mentioned.
Because I know that given what happens in the story, you know, again, not sure if it's in this issue or the next one, you know, but again, he would need to revive again, you know, at nighttime. But yeah, no, again, it's hard
possible because
to
if he is in space, then there is no night or day.
There is,
so
good point.
He could stay as Sasquatch. Yeah.
I love the imagery though, like the way this is drawn. You know, the real horror elements again. I mean, we know it's a Sasquatch, we know it's a Bigfoot, but this is very much like a werewolf. This is werewolf by night vibes going.
Yeah. One thing that I find interesting about gamma radiation, everybody who has gamma radiation, they always turn into something different. And I think it has to do with their past. You know, for example, the leader, he was a smart guy and his brain, you know, his head got enlarged. And I think the Hulk, Bruce Banner was the Hulk before he even became the Hulk. If you can understand that with the history of his father first thought he was a mutant, that something was wrong with him. So I think he was born to be the Hulk, and Sasquatch was born to be the Sasquatch.
Well,
and he changes, you know, that's what they're supposed to be as far as gamma radiation is concerned.
Yeah. Well, it was always my understanding, at least, that Bruce Banner had that split personality disorder because of his father's abuse. And basically the gamma mutation just literally bonded with one of those personalities, you know, the strong one, to help him cope. But yeah, I think you're bang on with it. You know,
that's what I mean about sort of people who didn't like the She-Hulk series saying, "Oh, why is She-Hulk? You know, she's all being smarmy," saying, "Oh, you know, I don't get angry, so it doesn't make me angry." As well, obviously, like I said, the gamma sort of, you know, whatever radiation or mutation and stuff, you know, it works on what you on how you are as a person, as opposed to everyone's going to be the same. And then
absolutely,
you know, it's
and we'll touch on a lot of the different personalities and things like that later on in the series. So that there's multiple versions of the Hulk, I guess you would say, start to come out. But Hulk's always had that. If you look back over his comic history, he's always had different kinds of personalities. And again, the relationship with his father pre-gamma radiation, I think, gets teased at later on as well, and it's really, really interesting.
It's not mentioned in this particular book or even maybe this series, but I always liked that Professor Charles Xavier has so much respect for Bruce Banner because he has a mind that even he can't get into. You know, if Bruce Banner can keep the Hulk at bay, that's a strong individual. That's a strong man. And so not enough is really said about the Dr. Jekyll side of this hero. Do you know what I mean? Like Bruce Banner is the real strong, you know, is the strength behind this, not so much the Hulk.
Speaking of what James just said about She-Hulk, there was a period where she changed as a She-Hulk. She became more bulkier, like the Hulk. And I think something was going on with her life that made her act more like a monster for a time.
So that was all tied in with this reference. So she died, and then she was resurrected, and you see that in the following few issues from this.
Okay, that's it. Yep, I remember now. Thank you.
But it's even still, She-Hulk's had a few incarnations herself, and Savage She-Hulk, and stuff like that. Yeah. So that was issue 4, and we'll go straight into issue 5. What was it? Yeah, so we get this is where we get the Walter backstory of the space station in issue 5, about him not wanting to change back into Walter from Sasquatch, basically getting took off the space station. Sasquatch kills Bruce in this, and so the Hulk comes out. I thought that was a good fight as well between Bruce and Sasquatch. How many times can you say Sasquatch?
Keep going.
Sasquatch. I bugged it up already, mate.
Shush.
Yeah. So the Hulk gets a new power here. I've never seen him do this before, where he actually absorbs the gamma radiation out of somebody. I've never seen that in the comics before. Is any of yours?
No, that caught me by surprise.
He does it. I don't know what he does it in that horrendous first Hulk movie, doesn't he? Doesn't he absorb all the gamma from his dad in that horrible film, the Ang Lee film?
Yeah. Try to block that out in my mind.
Yeah.
See his face.
Yeah.
So look, we want to take. Sorry, Efren.
I just noticed that in this scene, sometimes I read books so quick that I don't really look at the pictures. At the bottom right-hand side, he pokes his eye. I was like,
he pokes his eyes out.
Oh, he does,
straight in his eye.
Yeah, I was like, look at the grin on him on the bottom right-hand side of Sasquatch. Like, he's really enjoying this.
So, since this is the final issue, Luke, you can take us through it.
So from what I remember, again, like, because I haven't read it recently, so from what I remember, the majority of this issue is just them fighting, right? And it's only when he gets a glimpse of Sasquatch's reflection in the window that we actually see who it is that's in control. And I believe the person was able to take control because he had been in Sasquatch form for so long, meaning that the door was left open, right? The door was left open. He was able to cross through. Are you wanting me to spoil who it is, or are we leaving that?
No,
it's Vincent Price.
It's Vincent Price. No, so it's actually Bruce Banner's dad. It's his abusive father, making his way back through hell.
I love that image of the Hulk's expression there when he finds out it is his dad. I thought that was really well done. But and then we get a bit with McGee, who telling the Hulk that basically he destroyed a house when she was 15, and now she wants to be like him.
Yeah.
So you've got that to look forward to in future issues, which is a good cliffhanger, really, to keep people reading. Any thoughts, Pete, on that issue?
Yeah, I absolutely loved this issue. I thought it was great. The fight scenes are really good. It's very, very brutal. I love the fact that he pokes his eyes out. And again, I sound like a broken record, but this is kind of leading into where the book starts to go with horror and body horror. So you get more and more of this kind of grotesque damage. I love the scene earlier on where he first sees that it's his dad. So this is actually the end of the book. So it's not, he's already seen it's his dad at this point.
That's after he absorbs him into himself, right?
So he sees his dad in the reflection, and it's amazing. The transformation from Hulk is this big kind of fierce thing. He goes back to being a child, and he's just, there's a line where you see him, and I'm just looking at the book here, and he literally says kind of quietly, "Daddy," and I just think, oh my God, it shows you the childlike nature of the Hulk. And like you say,
give you a flashback to his childhood, doesn't it?
So wasn't it
brutal?
Wasn't it that the dad killed his mum, and then Bruce killed his dad? Like he whacked him against the gravestone, didn't he? Like,
pushed him onto the gravestone. Yeah. And then basically, like you said, he absorbs this gamma, And my interpretation was he absorbed the gamma and he thinks that's it over and done with. And it's literally when he's kind of walking out of town and he looks in the mirror and sees, instead of seeing Bruce, he sees the dad looking back at him. So it means kind of he's still with him, or he's part of him now. That's how I took it. And I just, I love the imagery of this huge, scary creature being reduced to a child again, basically.
So when I was saying this bit, I thought, is his dad going to be in his head for the rest of the series?
Have you've not read on, Pete? Have you?
I haven't read on. No, I stopped myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll not say anything then.
No. Efren, how about you? Did you enjoy this one, mate?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it, especially this last splash shot of the Hulk. They show him like fear, like the one person who's, that he fears more than anybody is his dad. And now his dad is in him. I mean, that's terrible for him. I like that they included the reporter more and more in this series. I got to reread it again because I forgot what happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
I know, spoiler, sorry, but the closer she hangs to the Hulk, like in his company, his radiation goes off. And, I think she absorbs some of it. I don't quite remember. I won't say any more about her, but I really like her storyline too.
Brilliant. And James, yourself?
Yeah. It was a good issue. I think, with that final panel and then the sort of panel earlier on, the reveal, all through. I think it started in issue 2, but when they started talking about, actually, no, it was in issue 1 when they said about the reflection, the mirror and stuff. There's a lot of imagery about the reflections, and
that's true, yeah.
And that plays out through it all, and he's, like even like you said on the bus, he see, in the reflection of the window, he's seeing the Hulk, and that changed obviously up to this one where he sees now obviously his reflection is his dad, and after what was done, and I think like Efren says, it shows he's scared. It shows there's fear and a vulnerability to the Hulk that maybe we haven't seen before. And I have read all when I originally read this. I think I read up to maybe issue 25 odd. So
that was a good coming off stage for a lot of people as well. That issue number 24, 25, and then it did carry on obviously until issue 50. But that you kind of got an end to the story, like midway point.
Yeah, I think that might have been worse. I can't even remember anything else about the series though, except for when Betty's in it. Is it Betty? Yeah. Then
Betty turns
there was another big anyway, like Roxxon and stuff. But yeah, it was definitely a good issue, sort of for that first sort of phase they end on, that issue 5. I liked all the sort of reflection, imagery and symbolism throughout that. It was very smart and well done. One thing though that it did, just when you were talking about there, is God, people like to talk when they fight, don't they?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if you've ever been in a real fight, there's no talking going on.
I tried to
and this is for us how much
comic
how much comic book chat goes on during fights. And it's all right if it's Spider-Man because he does the quips and stuff, but like it's basically just exposition the whole way through that fight scene. I suppose there's no other way to do it.
It's interesting. I'm just reflecting on the conversation we're having about his dad and about the backstory and why seeing his dad is important and stuff. And it's just making me mind boggle as to why they didn't include that issue 0 in the omnibus, because the issue 0 goes through all the backstory of the abuse, the death of his dad in the institution and all that kind of stuff. So without that, you don't understand the backstory to this, I don't think.
That issue 0 did come out much later, right? So we already had quite a large amount of these books before the issue 0 was
do you know what,
released.
Luke? That's a really good point.
It's like a prequel, but you need to know so much of the story first. So if they did include it, it would have to be somewhere in the middle as opposed to at the beginning.
It's interesting you saying that, because I know I've read that, but I wouldn't have bought it in single format, and I'm reading the omnibuses, so I'm wondering if I got that at a later point in the omnibus. I wonder if it's in one of the later issues. Yeah,
makes sense.
So I know that they are doing a new omnibus, I think in August.
Yeah,
where it's all collected into one. Yeah. So
it's almost treated like a flashback, right? So you get the information that you need at the time when you need it. As opposed to this is the beginning and now we're going to get all the way here.
Yeah. Well, so with that said, we'll go on to our favourite bits of the volume, or favorite issue. We'll start with Luke.
Yeah, so issue number 2, obviously like the Fry family, both the dad and the son. My favorite bit being where, you know, Bruce Banner calls the officials to come and check out the grave. And obviously they dig him up and he's, you know, the same as his dad. He's alive down there. You know, not to go into any spoilers for anything else, but whether or not those characters turn up again.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing with Bruce as well in this, because he was supposed to be dead and no one knew he was alive. So until he name dropped himself.
He said on the phone call, didn't he? And then that's when they came running.
Yeah. Very good. Pete, how about yourself?
Probably is going to echo some of what James Comic Deals is going to say, because I think issue 1 was by far the best for me. I think it set up the story nicely. I like the horror element. It just feels like a really dark kind of story. What I would say is, having read on, I think this is a nice start to it, but I think it gets better and better and better, and then dips a little to the end for me personally.
Right.
And the body horror element is tremendous as it goes on. But yeah, I thought it was great. Issue 1 by far the standout for me.
James?
Yeah, I think issue 1 definitely was my favorite of it. I think it was an easier read than the rest of them. Yeah, I think as the series does go on, I think it does get crazier. But there's a lot more thrown into it. You know, there's I'm just even things are coming back to me. Like it was a gamma flight, isn't it? They introduced that at some point too. At one point, stuff. There's a lot of stuff that just starts being built into it. But yeah, I think the simplicity of issue 1 was probably my favorite part, and the art, especially in issue 1, where, you know, like even that panel you showed where he's just massive hulking over the kid with the gun and stuff. Just things like that I love. So it's definitely my favorite. It's my favorite part.
Good. Efren?
Which issue was it with the doctor? That was issue 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my favorite also, and it just shows. I mean, issue 1 showed it also, but just shows the brutality of the Hulk, and he's torturing these people forever. What happens to the doctor at the end? You know what he. You know, I'm gonna tell you, but if you read it, he cuts off his arms and his legs, and he buries.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And he says, and then at the end, the doctor was scared of dying, and at the end he goes, "Just kill me now. I'd rather take death than be buried alive."
Yeah,
you know, his worst fears, and now he's saying, you know, I want to die. You know, that one, I went, wow, man, the Hulk is just torturing these people.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing as well, right? That's the thing as well. The Doctor wasn't necessarily being a bad person. Like he experimented on himself. It seemed to go well. He tried it with his son. It failed. He was then grief-stricken, and he vanished off to the caves. You know, and he was only killing the people that found him. He was like knowing that they couldn't return after they had stumbled across him or been infected themselves or anything else. So he wasn't necessarily a bad guy, and so to suffer that fate.
Whoa! He's murdering people who turn up at his cave, and you don't think he's a bad person?
No,
Pete,
no,
it's Luke you're talking about.
It's the greater good. You know, the town has already suffered enough, and these people being irradiated and then spreading it further.
I'll do experiments on my kids, and you let me know if I'm a good guy or not, and then we'll see how.
Honestly, James, Luke will find the littlest bit of light in the darkest room.
Although, to be honest, I think I already do psychological warfare on them with Peppa Pig, and Coco Melon. So I think,
yeah, for me, I've got to agree. Issue 1 was my favorite. I did enjoy issue 3 with the different styles of art. Issue 2 was a strong second. Overall, really enjoyed the series. Apart from the Avengers spook, that's just absolutely cack. The character is enjoyable, good art, and a really strong story. So with that said, we'll go to the scores, and we'll start with you, Luke. Out of 10.
Yeah, so it's not perfect. You know, mostly because like issue 3, the artwork and stuff like that didn't really gel right with me. So I couldn't give this a 10 like I did with like the Thanos Win story, for example. But it's definitely up there. It's like an 8.5, 9. Let's say 8.5. Like, I don't know if we can do point numbers.
Let's just say half. James, how about yourself?
Right, so I did like it. I remember enjoyed it when I first read it. It does, in my opinion, it does start to drag on after that issue anyway, and as it goes on. But and I like what they did with issue 3. I like that they tried something different just because they could and they can, and you know that takes balls. So fair play for that. But again, I think it's just it's probably it's trying to be too smart. You know, when it sort of starts to dig into the sort of psychology of the Hulk, and you know, and the gamma, as you know, gamma radiation as a whole. So I think I would give it a I'm torn between a 6 and 7. I'll go 7. 7's a go. I'll give it a 7. But yeah, I just I think it's and you know what, it's Al Ewing, and I can understand, but it's probably trying to be smarter than it has to be. Either that, or I'm just really stupid.
Yeah,
but that can't be that. That can't be right.
It can't be that.
That can't be right.
Definitely not, mate. Efren, yourself?
Me and Peter, we've always talked about this. I think it's so hard to rejuvenate a character that's been around for over 50 plus years, trying to think of new ideas for these characters. But when I don't grade comic books that often, but I take into consideration the writing and the artwork and the cover artwork, all those three. The cover artwork, Alex Ross, I give it a 10, because I just love them. The art, I mean, the writing, I give it an 8. And I'm sorry, but issue 3, the artwork just bothered me. I didn't like it that much. It just it didn't fit with the storyline. And I give that a 7. So overall, for all 3 aspects, I give this a grade of an 8.
Yeah. So that brings us to a total score of 41.5.
I haven't scored.
The Immortal Hulk. Oh, you haven't scored, Pete?
Go
on, mate. Sorry.
Did you give a score?
I've already wrote mine down. I wouldn't give it a minute.
You're just not sharing yours with the viewers. Fair
enough. I'm Russian for some reason.
I'm sorry, DP. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
So for me, I'm scoring this on the volume that we're asked to read, which includes the Avengers issue and all the rest of it. James, you're bang on, mate, in terms of sometimes reading comics that just totally baffle us. So Hickman does a lot of that for me at times. I don't know what the hell he's doing. And all I would say is, I don't know if you've read the last issue of Immortal Hulk yet. I've read it 3 or 4 times, and I'm still not quite sure what's going on. So it is a bit of an interesting series. I love the artwork. I get what you're just saying about issue 3 in terms of trying different things, so I can respect that. Didn't work for me, but I still like the story. The covers are amazing. I hate that Avengers issue outside of the bits that have got the Hulk in it. But I still think it's an interesting story, and I like where they're going with it. So for me, it's probably, I think, is 7.5 or an 8. We'll go 8. We'll go 8.
Well, 8 for you, Pete. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I'll give it an 8. Just because of the Avengers issue was a little shite. Absolutely enjoyed the story. Enjoyed the artwork. Yeah, so it'd be an 8 for me, which gives us an overall score of 39.5 out of 50. It's not bad.
Not bad.
So that's not the Punisher up.
What?
It went down in score after triple. I don't know.
Yeah, because the way I worked it out here, I was trying to do fast maths and I buggered it up first time. I've just used my calculator.
So how does that look in terms of the other books we've marked?
Punisher's still on the top. So I can't remember what we did for Thanos. Okay. I did have it written down.
No, don't worry.
Oh, 40. So yeah, this is a third book and third in line. So yeah, not bad.
We're declining each episode. We'll be on to some stinkers by the end.
Yeah,
I can give you some stinkers. We can do. We've
got plenty of shows left to do, mate.
Yeah.
Just before we go on to see what everybody's got coming up on the channels, I'll spin the wheel and see what we're gonna be reading for next time. So we still got Deceased, Noctera, Philadelphia, and Crimson Cage. There's a wheel. Let's give it a spin.
Spin that wheel.
What we got there?
Blue.
read it.
Oh, there, Noctera, Volume 1.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That'd be
So I've not read
interesting.
that.
No. I have
Maybe
the
not.
first issue, but I've never read it.
Yeah, I've got. As you would expect,
got
James,
every issue.
I've got multiple copies of the first issue,
Yeah.
signed by Snyder. But no,
Yeah.
I've never read it. So yeah,
Right.
that'll be interesting.
Okay.
I hear it's good though. I do hear it's good. Sean,
You've heard it's good?
Sean's a big fan of it.
Really?
So what does that include,
Say a lot for
GP? How
Sean.
many issues is that?
2 seconds, because I've got it here. It is issues 1 to 6, I think. Yeah, 1 to 6.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be good. 'cause I've
I'll
not
have
read
to
that.
read that one.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to
Well,
realize how much of a detriment this is going to have on my bank balance doing this show.
I'm pretty sure you can read it for free.
Don't know how to do that.
We'll go around and find out what people's got coming up on the shows. Luke, yourself?
Yeah, so I actually released a video this evening, a few hours back. I had to let one of my grails go. I had to let a book go in order to pay some bills. So it's a very brief video, but just explaining that and, how I feel about it, really.
Family first, mate.
I watched that video earlier. Luke, it's very good.
Thank you.
He's still crying. Look, he's still rubbing his eye. But I can't believe it. Not a grail.
Yeah, I'll definitely give that a watch, mate. James, you doing anything? Got anything coming up?
You know what? I actually did do a video today. It's scheduled to be released, I think, tomorrow. It's at some time in the afternoon.
Sweet.
Just some boxes of comics I opened. Nothing exciting, usual rubbish. Enjoy it if you watch it. If you don't watch it, no, I don't care.
Nothing exciting for comic book nerds. There you go.
No, probably not even.
Actually, I was just editing today. I did a quick review of the Flash movie. I went to go see it yesterday. I'm not going to talk about spoilers or anything like that. Just my thoughts of the movie, and probably going to be on YouTube probably later on today, probably about a half an hour or so. Everybody wants to check it out.
And Pete, I'm sure you've got a list as long as your arm.
Wake me up when he's done, will you?
Make yourselves comfortable. So I've got my card video out. That went out yesterday, I think. So I was gifted some cards from Zavi. So it's just a bit of a quick review of them and details of a competition I'm doing. I've got a 1/6 scale Odin figure coming out this week. I've got myself and Efren did our top picks for the month of July. So that comes out on Thursday, I think. And I'll probably have another video out this week because my X-Men #1 from 1963 is with FedEx and is being delivered to my house tomorrow. So I don't know what the grade is. I don't know. I'm praying to all the comic book gods that it doesn't come back as a green label or something like that. So
has to be alive. I have to do a live reveal for that.
I might do something.
Got to be alive. And drum rolls and
lovely segue there, James. In terms of live shows, so live shows tomorrow night. I've got my This Is My, so it's my interview show, and I'm interviewing Luke from Hydro Collectibles, who you might have heard of. So that's on tomorrow night. Saturday night, I'm guesting on Only Slabs over on Rob's Fat Stacks channel at 7:30, and then directly after that, I'm doing my Saturday night hangout. And then Monday is Toy Show. So yeah, few bits and bobs.
Busy lad. Still married?
I think so. Yeah, I don't know.
He just hasn't seen it for a while.
He's just triggered panic mode in my head then when he said Monday night's toy show. I'm like, oh, I've got to do some work then.
Yeah.
Somebody just keeps leaving him food outside his door. Yeah, stay tuned to this channel. On Sunday is a quick review of Bronze Age Swamp Thing Volume 1. So just a quick review. It's about 2-3 minutes long. Won't take up all your day. I'm sure I'll be on Pete's channel at some point in the near future. Apart from that, that's it. That's a show. I want to say a big thank you for everybody for joining. Especially Peter who put them slides together. Thank you very much, mate. Take some time out of your day for that. With that said, Luke, this has been your pick, so give us your best thunderclap. out of here.
Thunderwall.
Thunderclap. Was that it?
What's a
Ricky.
thunderclap?
Terrible.